Hey, everybody. Welcome into TexAgs Rewind presented by Yeti. He's Billy. I'm David. And the show was fun today. Greg McElroy, some really nice insight there.
Yeah, I loved what he had to say. I really liked what he had to say about A&M and his thoughts on the Aggies. It's interesting. Like Greg said, he calls it like he sees it. He wasn't as high on A&M last year. And I think people were like, why?
Right.
You know, we're number 6 in the country. Or this year he is.
Yeah.
And I think people at A&M might kind of ignore that and not realize there's a reason why he's high on A&M. It is something to be a little excited about. He's basically talking about all that youth that now has experience behind it. All that talent that now has experience behind it. And that's what he's talking about there. And unlike last year, what he said probably raised some eyebrows around the SEC, because I do think A&M is kind of in that under the radar mode, and it might be the way Jimbo and these guys respond best.
All right, so we had that on the show. We also had Pete Fiutak talking about Bobby Petrino and the A&M offense and the preview of the year. We had Billy obviously on with us, and how will Ole Miss look? Neal McCready broke that down for us. All that and more here on the TexAgs Rewind.
You can get away with it in the spring where you do the thing of everybody's getting competition and we're doing this, we're doing that. But at some point when you get in the fall, when you're playing in the spring, you don't have a game for 6 months. In the fall, you got a game in a few weeks. You got to start figuring this out. And, Ole Miss can play around with the Mercer game on September the 2nd and whatever. They can play 7 quarterbacks. They'll beat Mercer. It's fine. They got to go to Tulane the next week. Georgia Tech's going to be a better team. And then it's Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. Boom, boom, boom. A week off at Auburn. You don't think Hugh Freeze will be ready for Ole Miss, do you? I mean, you got to figure this thing out pretty quick and then understand how that decision is going to impact culture, chemistry on the team. Because look, inside that locker room, the kids that are still back from last year's team, they have a ton of respect for Jackson Dart. So if he's not going to be the quarterback and they're going to give the quarterbacking job to a guy that spent basically 5 seasons at Oklahoma State, it's going to turn some heads in the locker room.
How concerned are they about the defense? I think the defensive line returns just one guy. Obviously, Pete Golding's there. He'll make some wrinkles. Just help me understand the defensive side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Pete Golding came in, looked at the personnel, and said we need to jump into the portal hard tells you a whole lot about what he thought of the talent that was coming back. They've had some real portal success up front. A couple of linebackers. I think they've added a couple of really good corners. But, again, new system, a lot of new faces, no real continuity at all. You have to ask questions about chemistry and those kinds of things. And again, the schedule's pretty tough at the beginning when you get Alabama and LSU and Arkansas. No matter what people think about Arkansas overall, Arkansas offensively, KJ Jefferson's back, Sanders is back. They're pretty good up front.
Pete, I think it's interesting because I remember when the Petrino hire happened, it seemed, at least on social media, people were laughing, right? But every analyst I've had on this show has been like, dude, they may have hit it really big with that hire.
Oh, God, yeah. It's hard in the social media world because social media will always react to the obvious and the silly and all that sort of thing. But it's one of those. He's a heck of a coach. He is an amazing football coach, despite everything else. Okay, so the head coaching side of Bobby Petrino stalled, and obviously everyone remembers all the Arkansas incidents and all that kind of stuff. But he is a whale of an offensive mind. And for a program who, look, under Jimbo Fisher, in 2020, it almost worked. In 2020, everything, the kind of control the tempo, keep everything slow. Maybe, you don't blow teams out by 50, but you're in, total control of the game and win, 24-10 or something like that. Because you had the veteran quarterback, you had all the pieces in place, and you dominate the time of possession. And that's kind of where things slipped, is that now last year you didn't dominate the time of possession, and you're going up against these teams with these first round, talents at the skill spots who can, score in a snap. So now you get a guy in Petrino who can make that pivot. So now A&M's not going to go warp speed. It's not going to be Tennessee or like that. But now you get a guy who knows how to run an offense very, very efficiently.
Yeah, no doubt. Talking to Pete Fiutak here on he's from College Football News. We're not College Football News, but he is all about that.
Oh, come on in. We're all college football.
We are, at the end of the day. So Connor Wigman, we are so high on him because of not only the pedigree he came into A&M, the 5-star, the potential, but what we saw at the end of last season. I know you wrote very high about him too. You expect him to have a pretty big year.
Yeah, let's go. Like that, and that was the argument last year. I think I came on with you when Texas A&M was ranked top 7 by everyone else, and the argument was, where are the playmakers? Compared to Alabama, compared to LSU, compared to everyone else, where are the offensive guys?
He's right about Max's arm strength and what Max can do as a thrower. And then remember in that game, Max had a couple of long scrambles. 2, I believe. One was cut shorter by a penalty downfield block, but that was might have been a 40-yard run. So those are the kind of things that have caught his eye. And Max did it at LSU too. I'm sure Greg did a game there where he ran and he had some massive games as a passer. Right. People forget that. Hell, did Mac? No, he didn't do the A&M LSU game where Max beat A&M late. But 2 things to this. I do think people underestimate Max Johnson's athletic ability and what A&M has in the quarterback that's not talked about as much. I think even A&M fans forget what they've got there in terms of what this dude has done as a quarterback in this conference. And yes, his arm strength and his ability as a thrower of the football. What I think people around the SEC don't know is what Connor Wigman can do running the football. Like that little run against LSU for a first down on 3rd down, which was a massive play, early in the first half of that game. And then he did it against UMass. Nobody watched that game. Connor Wigman, if he gets into the flow of the game and starts getting a feel for it, that's a dude that in a Johnny kind of way, maybe more in a Pat Mahomes kind of way, he can really break down a defense with improvisational scrambling.
Right. How high are you on the Aggies this year?
Super high.
Yeah.
Really?
Really high. And not, you know me, like I'm going to call it how I see it.
Yeah.
I'm not playing to the partisan crowd here. I think you guys are on the cusp of having a heck of a run. I really believe it. I think last year there were a lot of really positive signs, and now I saw them up close and personal twice, against Arkansas and against LSU. So probably the 2 biggest wins for the Aggies
good luck,
last
John.
year. We were right there, and there are so many positive signs of growth, and there were so many close moments last year. And then when you really dive into the roster, and I know you guys do on a daily basis, I mean, and I talked to Jimbo before the Arkansas game. He goes, man, I know no one's going to want to hear it, but we are really young, but we have a lot of talent. And I'll take youth with talent any day of the week. I'm super bullish. I think last year the expectations were absolutely absurd coming into the season, and they played like a team that had a target on their back, and they shouldn't have had that last year, not with the youth that they had. And I just think this year they're playing with house money because no one's talking about them in the preseason, and they have a lot of guys back that played pivotal moments last year. And I think the fact that they're going to be able to kind of go into the season with low expectations and a lot of talent, that's a great spot to be.
Billy, quickly, tell them what to do.
Subscribe, tell your friends, like, watch, tell more friends,
Comment.
Talk about it, comment. Comments help. Comments
they
are
do
good.
help. Yeah,
Maybe
the
you need
algorithm.
to interact with the comments.
I do.
I volunteered you for that.
I do it. When people say stuff, I respond. I'm a responder and a liker of comments. Bye.
Yeah.